The war that started everything, 1979 to 2019. Most people think the wars in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria are separate conflicts. But what if I told you, they are all connected? A chain reaction of wars, stretching across more than 40 years. A timeline that begins in 1979, and eventually leads to the rise of ISIS. To understand today's world, we must go back to the beginning. The Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union was at its peak. That year, the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan to support a communist government there. But the invasion did not go as planned. Afghan fighters, known as the Mujahideen, began resisting Soviet forces. These fighters received support from several countries, including the United States and Pakistan. Among the foreign volunteers who joined the fight was a wealthy Saudi man. His name was Osama bin Laden. At that time, he was not yet the world's most wanted man. He was simply one of many fighters opposing Soviet forces in Afghanistan. The war lasted almost 10 years, and in 1989, the Soviet Union withdrew from Afghanistan. But the war left Afghanistan devastated and unstable. The fighters who had gained experience during the conflict did not simply disappear. Instead, some of them formed new militant organizations. One of those organizations was called Al-Qaeda. Throughout the 1990s, tensions between Al-Qaeda and the United States continued to grow. And then, in 2001, the world witnessed one of the most shocking attacks in modern history. The attacks of September 11th. Nearly 3,000 people were killed in the United States when hijacked airplanes struck the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. The United States accused Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden of carrying out the attacks. Soon after, the United States launched a military operation in Afghanistan. The goal was to destroy Al-Qaeda and remove the Taliban government that was sheltering them. But this war would become the longest war in American history. 2 years later, another major conflict began. In 2003, the United States invaded Iraq. The U.S. government argued that Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction and posed a threat to global security. Iraq's leader at the time was Saddam Hussein. However, after the invasion, those weapons were never found. The removal of Saddam Hussein created a power vacuum in Iraq. The country became unstable, and sectarian tensions increased. Out of this chaos, a new extremist group began to form. It was called Al-Qaeda in Iraq. Over time, this group grew stronger. And when civil war erupted in neighboring Syria in 2011, the group expanded its operations there. In 2014, the organization declared itself a new state. It called itself the Islamic State, or ISIS. At its peak, ISIS controlled large areas of Iraq and Syria. Millions of people lived under its rule, and the group carried out attacks across several countries. The rise of ISIS shocked the world, but its origins could be traced back through a long chain of events. The Iraq War, the war in Afghanistan, the rise of Al-Qaeda, and the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan decades earlier. Eventually, an international coalition launched military operations against ISIS. By 2019, the group had lost most of the territory it once controlled. But the conflicts that led to its rise left deep scars across the region. Millions of lives were affected. Entire countries were destabilized, and the consequences of those wars continue to shape global politics today. History often teaches us an important lesson. Major events rarely happen in isolation. They are connected. Each conflict influences the next. And understanding that chain of events helps us better understand the world we live in today. Because the wars we see today are often the echoes of decisions made many decades ago. If you found this video informative, consider subscribing for more content exploring global history, geopolitics, and the events that shape our world. And tell us in the comments, which event do you think changed the world the most? The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan in 1979? The attacks of 9/11 in 2001? Or the Iraq War in 2003? Let us know your thoughts.